I am now here with...
Michel Geensen.
You work at Nomios. Can you please tell me what your role is?
Within Nomios, I manage the pre-sales team. Yeah, and next to that, I also help my sales colleagues with the large customers which we have, which also includes GÉANT.
And what are your main responsibilities then?
Well, the moment a question pops up from a customer, a technical question, I need to figure out what the answer is, what the best way forward is to solve the challenge which the customer has, and I provide that answer together with my sales colleague into a proposal.
For how long have you been working at Nomios?
For 2.5 years.
And what were you doing before? What was your journey that led you to Nomios?
Before Nomios, I worked at KPN, which is the Dutch national incumbent telecom operator. And I was for over 20 years, always in technical roles, architect, last couple of years in the CTO office of KPN, looking further towards the future. How will the world look like in a couple of years from now? What kind of impact will it have on our network? Things like that.
And so why did you join Nomios? Was it the fun, spirited, organizational culture or something else?
Well, after 20 plus years at KPN, it was time for something else. I knew Nomios from KPN because they were a supplier for KPN. And yeah, it sounded like a fun, interesting something else for me.
We're here because of the GÉANT network project. What do you know about the GÉANT network project?
So I helped create the response to the official tender. I did all the technical part together with Nokia. So yeah, I know quite a lot about it. But I was mostly involved in the stage when we were winning the tender. And of course, still involved afterwards, but less. My involvement has become less.
And where would you say the upgrade of the GÉANT network is at now?
At the moment, we're rolling out all the cities, all the POPs in the cities. We've rolled out the largest ones. Those are the ones where GÉANT has the largest need of an increase of capacity. And then we're talking about what they call their tier 1 sites. That's Amsterdam, Paris, Frankfurt, Geneva, and London, of course.
What's next for the GÉANT network rollout?
After we finish the tier 1 sites, we're going to roll out all the remaining sites, which will is happening the rest of this year. That's another 30 sites. So the team's going to be quite busy with that.
How would you describe the collaboration in between Nomios and Nokia and GÉANT?
It's a good collaboration. We need to work together to do this in a good fashion, of course. Nokia has mostly been involved in the pre-work, but of course, if we encounter something during the project, we still require Nokia to step in and also provide updates on what kind of new things are coming for the equipment which has been bought.
So that means Nokia has provided the products or the technology, and you guys are making sure it is put in the right places so that the GÉANT network can operate successfully.
Correct. So Nokia is the vendor, so to say, and we do the complete rollout. We create the designs and we do all the stuff which needs to happen on the site. So put in the new gear, help with the migration, switch all the fibers from the old gear to the new gear, and at the end we take out the existing gear.
What are the main challenges of this project, and how is Nomios tackling those challenges?
One of the largest challenge, I think the largest challenge at the moment, is to migrate all the specific configs which you have in existing nodes into the new setup. 2 different vendors, they work completely different. The concepts are the same, but you need to fully translate it. And sometimes you have to take a few steps back and figure out what is the intent of what you've done in your previous vendor, and we maybe can figure out a better way to do this.
We were at the Nokia Research and Development Lab. Can you tell me more how that is related to this project?
So some of the equipment you've seen in their lab is the stuff we're rolling out for GÉANT in the field.
Can you tell me more about these technologies?
So what we're rolling out for GÉANT, we have 2 flavors of chassis. We have the large chassis, and they're called the SR7S. Those we're rolling out on the largest size, the huge size, for instance, the ones Amsterdam and London, the ones I mentioned before, but also in the tier 2 sites. And we have the smaller version of that box, SR2 SE, compact. Those we are rolling out on all the remaining sites. And this translates into a uniform architecture for GÉANT. Instead of having 4 flavors, which they have in the previous network, they only have 2 flavors now. And the concept of each of the boxes is the same. It's running this, of course, running the same OS, but also each of them will have 2 line cards with the room to expand. And also, we're rolling out line cards, which today can do 400 gig, but with a license upgrade, a license change, can go up to 800 gig per port. And there are a lot of ports in those boxes. So it's also really future-proof from that perspective.
For someone who's at home who doesn't know a lot about tech, what is this upgrade that Nomios is providing with Nokia to GÉANT network? What is this upgrade doing for the GÉANT network?
So what GÉANT is running into is basically 2 reasons why they needed this upgrade. Number one is the equipment which they rolled out is nearing the end of its life. Often these vendors put equipment on the market, they support it for X many years, and then they stop supporting it. So they needed to change something.
And the end of life, that means it's just, it's not good enough.
Sorry, then it's no longer supported anymore. No software will come out, no fixes will come out. If there are vulnerability, security issues with the software, it will just stop totally. And the second reason for this change on the GÉANT, this upgrade, is the increase in capacity. So you've talked to a bunch of other people in Europe. There's a lot of need for more and more capacity, and the new network will provide a really future-proof capacity for the next 10 years and even beyond.
And we interviewed Christian Schaffner about quantum computing and cryptography. How is that related to the project? Is it related to the project?
A bit, because of course they require connectivity between different universities in Europe and research institutes, and they will use the GÉANT network for this. But that's not the real driver for the capacity increase, of course, because a quantum computer by itself will not require that much data to be transferred, at least not today. But there are a lot of other research projects going on which require terabits of data per second to be transferred, for instance, from London to Geneva, if they use the Hadron Collider in CERN, and they want to do tests with people doing this, executing this in London, they require the data. But the speed it's being pushed out from the Hadron Collider, it needs to be sent all the way to London, and then it needs to be handled over there. And there, for that purpose, you need really huge networks.
What is the exact process for upgrading the network?
First of all, there's a lot of preparation involved, right? We need an empty cabinet, we need a complete design for a specific node. But as soon as all of that is in place, we go to site with the equipment, we put the equipment in the rack, which has been assigned by GÉANT, because close collaboration with GÉANT, and we hook it up to the existing network, just with a single cable, just to get it up and running, connected to the network. And the next step, we actually start migrating trunks, migrating traffic between all the different sites in Europe. And the last phase of the migration, or second last phase, is to migrate the actual client connections, how they call it, so the customers, like the universities and the research institutes. All of that is fully automated, but that still means there are people on site who are having to change cables, right? So there's a lot of coordination with GÉANT. And when all of this is finished and everything is up and running, everyone is satisfied, because it needs to be really without, minimum outage. The customer should not be affected by it. After this, we can remove the old box. And for the first sites, it's going to be a process of a couple of weeks. We're going to go to site a number of times to do this, with a week in between, just to make sure everything is stable. And for the later sites, the smaller sites, it will probably be 1 or 2 days when we do this.
A final question from my side. What is it like working at Nomios?
Nomios is a great company, really enthusiastic and young people. 25 nationalities just in the Netherlands, so it's a really international company as well. One of the things I really like is that we handle all kinds of customers, not just in the public sector like GÉANT, but also a lot of companies in the private sector. And each company and each project, each meeting is something new, something else. Always a surprise if you have a meet with a customer and something interesting pops up.
What would you say to young students and young aspiring professionals who want to work at Nomios?
Get some knowledge into either the networking or the cybersecurity area, and go to a website and apply.
Perfect. Thank you so much. It was a pleasure meeting you.
You're welcome.